Thank you so much for joining me today for this yoga class that is going to be restorative and gentle and help you to get grounded into your body and into the present moment. So we're going to be moving slow today. We're going to be moving on the ground today. If you have trouble getting down on the ground, you could probably even do this practice laying right there in your own bed. So we are going to take it slow and easy, and we are going to start on the ground, laying on our backs. I've actually just realized that the microphone is a little far away, and I want you to be able to hear okay. So I'm just going to move that a little bit closer there. And we're going to start laying on our backs with our feet on the ground, knees pointing up at the sky. And we're going to go ahead and find a posture for the legs that feels good for you today. So that might be keeping your feet and knees parallel and hip width. Or you might like to walk your feet out a little farther and maybe a little farther away from your sit bones, wide as the mat even. And let those knees just kind of knock inward. And right away, you might notice release here in the front of your hips in those big hip flexor muscles. You might like to just have your legs out long. So listen to your body, decide what works best for you today. I'm going to take the feet wide, knees together, constructive rest pose. And then we're going to just rest our hands right here, maybe to the rib cage, maybe to the belly, whatever's most comfortable for you. And we're going to begin to ground ourselves into our body. So you might want to lift your hips up and kind of lengthen your tailbone down towards the end of the mat so that your lumbar spine is nice and supported by your yoga mat. And then when you've got yourself all situated, turn to gaze up towards the sky and either relax your eyes or close them all together. And just begin to kind of notice, become aware of the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe. You might, if your hands are on your ribs, notice how they kind of expand away from each other as you inhale. And soften inward as you exhale. And really, if this is all you did for your practice today, you would be doing a great thing to just get yourself grounded and in the present moment. You might notice thoughts, stories, plans coming up, maybe ruminations. And that's perfectly normal. We think of around 70,000 thoughts a day. And it's usually the same old thoughts we thought yesterday. So they're mostly not really useful or necessary in this moment. So there's lots of different ways to think about these thoughts, but I like to think about them as kind of like birds. If you're looking up at the sky and you see a bird fly across the sky, you simply notice the bird without attaching any meaning to its presence. You just see the bird flies across your field of vision, and then it's gone. No attachment, no resistance. It's just there and gone. And our thoughts can be like that as well. You don't have to wonder anything about them and just notice that they're there, that they're present. And then bring ourselves gently back to the sensation of the breath. Well, we've just had someone join us. We're practicing on our backs, breathing our breath, legs in whatever position makes sense for you. Noticing any thoughts that come up and letting them go. And that's the practice of getting grounded and present in this moment. Simply noticing and coming right back to the sensation of your legs supported. You might feel a sensation of temperature, coolness, or warmth as you rest on your yoga mat. You might notice the places where your toes are touching your skin or where your skin is touching the ground. You just notice the back of your head supported. And just let the breath come in and out without changing anything. Just watching how it breathes you. And even without trying to change it, you might notice that it begins to slow down or get deeper or soften. Just with your attentive care. Just noticing any thoughts or birds across your field of vision without attaching any being. And coming back to just sensing your breath, feeling your hands rise and fall on your body. Noticing how it feels to expand and to soften. And just letting this be enough. You don't have to do anything or go anywhere or make anything happen. There's nothing to figure out. Just be present with your breath and the sensation of being held and supported by your yoga mat, by your yoga practice, by the sound of my voice, by your own attention to the present moment. Just another minute there, just letting this be enough. As you're here, you might notice some tension around your face, across your shoulders, maybe in your hips or thighs. You might relax intentionally those places. And then invitation to just stay here, breathing your breath, letting yourself practice being grounded and present. Or if you're ready to get some movement, you might go ahead and lift your hands from your body and draw one knee and then the other in towards your heart. And just gently begin to rock a little bit from side to side. And as you move here, you don't need to stay right here with your knees right up tight and just kind of rock a little bit here. You've got all this space around you as you practice in the privacy of your own home. Nobody's there to watch you. So you might roll all the way over onto your hip. You might move your knees a little bit away and a little bit closer. And then maybe roll all the way to the other side and see what is present in the opposite hip. You might play around with drawing your knees in and maybe inviting your nose up towards your knees. You might also begin to draw your knees away and back in towards your heart, letting yourself massage up and down your sacrum. So just playing around with this a little bit here, noticing what feels good in your body and just kind of going with it. Being present, really feeling the sensation of your hips on the ground, your low back and your skull supported. And then if you like, you might cup your hands over your kneecaps and just begin to make some gentle circles in one direction. And again, the circles can be really generous. You can rock all the way over onto each hip, or they might be very small. Noticing this little individualized sensation that's you're building for yourself. But if you are making these circles, when you're ready, we will reverse the direction. And again, you might notice yourself kind of gripping your knees really firmly. See if you can soften your touch, soften your jaw, the muscles of your face. And then let's make some mirror image circles of these knees. So we'll bring them away from the body and out towards either side of the mat, and then up towards the armpits and back into the center. We'll just continue to make these little mirror image circles. And again, you can take those knees out as wide as you like, or you can keep them relatively lifted. And notice and savor the sensation of being massaged here. I'm going to get freaky and yoga and granola and whatever you want to call it, but notice the sensation of being massaged by the earth. We are in springtime now. Everything is fresh and new. We've just got to experience the cherry blossoms here. There's tulips and daffodils coming up everywhere. So just let yourself kind of grow into this new season of life and reverse those circles whenever it makes sense to you. And then we'll draw both knees up towards the heart once again. Again, you might invite your nose up towards your knees. Give yourself a little bit of a squeeze hug here. And then we'll set that left foot down and draw that right knee in towards the heart. And you might just rock that knee a little bit from side to side here. You might like to draw it in. Maybe your hands are behind your thigh or around your shin, and maybe send that left leg out nice and long. And here you might just circle your ankles and wiggle your toes. Maybe open up this right knee and press the left knee down towards the ground. Just kind of feeling what there is to feel, sensing what there is to sense. And then maybe with this left knee long, maybe with it bent once again, you might bring your hands behind your right thigh and extend and bend this right leg. Now, maybe you bring the leg relatively straight. Maybe there's a generous bend. Just listening to what works best for your body here. And you might check in once again with the muscles of your face. And one more time, we'll extend that right leg. And then we'll bend it back in towards the heart. Let's draw that left heel up the mat. And here we're either going to place the right ankle on the left thigh, or you can cross your right knee over your left knee. So whatever's comfortable for your body. You might stay here with your hips on the ground, just kind of stretching out this outer right hip. This might be enough for you right here. Or whether you have the ankle crossed or the knees crossed, you might like to go a little deeper and draw these knees up towards your heart. Give yourself another little hug here. Maybe invite your nose up towards your knee. If you've got the knees crossed, you might like to walk your hands down your shins. Maybe reach for your pant legs or your ankles or your big toes or the outer edges of your feet. And just let the weight of your arms kind of draw your knees down towards your heart. And just notice what there is to notice happening in your body right now. So we're either in figure 4, maybe with the hands behind that left thigh, maybe with the sacrum on the ground, maybe holding on to your opposite legs. And we'll just stay here for one whole minute. Breathing your breath. Again, bring your attention back to the places where you feel your body expand as you inhale. And to the places that you can soften as you exhale. One more full breath right here. And as you find your next inhale, unwind whatever posture you have here. We'll send those legs out long. Maybe draw your arms overhead. Take a big full body stretch with another big inhale. And as you exhale, just let your hands and arms kind of rest down, flop down to the ground. And just notice kind of the rebound effect of all the places you sort of had folded up and how it feels in your body to sense the blood flow returning. Just noticing any sense of tingling or spaciousness or release, perhaps. Really being sensory heavy here, staying with that experience of your body and your breath. And then when you're ready, we will draw those feet back to the ground, knees up to the sky. And this time we're going to hug that left knee in towards the heart, hands behind the thigh or around the shin. And you might switch up your clasp here. So if you typically are right-handed like me, your right thumb is probably always on top every time you clasp your hands. So just a little shift to bring the left thumb on top. It's just one little way we can build a sense of comfort in something that feels a little funky and weird and maybe uncomfortable. There's a lot of discomfort in the world today. So finding safety in discomfort is a really great way to build our ability to handle discomfort. And so again, we can rock this left knee a bit from side to side. We can invite our nose up towards our knee and stretch out the upper back and the back of the neck. We could send that right leg out long. Play around with opening and closing this left hip. Just really feeling what feels good, pausing where it feels nice to pause. Breathing your breath. And then maybe with that right leg straight or bent, you might bring your hands behind this left thigh and play around with extending and bending the left knee. See if you can link the movement with your breath. Inhale as you find extension. Exhale as you bend. Just a couple more times. And then let's bring that right heel back up the mat. We'll bring the left ankle to the top of the right thigh, maybe lifting those legs up for a figure four. Again, maybe switching up your clasp, or you might cross your knees, maybe hugging the knees in towards the heart here, or walking your hands down to hold on to your ankles or big toes or whatever you can reach. And just playing around with that here. Maybe finding some movement, maybe finding a really nice stretch here and just settling in and breathing your breath. And then using the sensations of your body and your breath expanding and softening to be your objects of attention. And if those thoughts float across or fly across your field of vision, simply notice that they're there. You let them go and come back to the breath in your body. 1 minute here. Rest a couple more breaths here. And then with that next inhale, invite yourself to unwind, disassemble whatever you assembled. Take a nice big full body stretch with an inhale. Exhale and just let everything soften down to the ground. Loosey, loosey, nothing happening. Everything soft and open. And just feeling what there is to feel. Noticing the backs of your legs on the ground, your hips on the ground, your shoulder blades, back of your head, your arms. And then let's take the feet and the hands out as wide as the yoga mat so that you're kind of making an X shape with your body here on the ground. Now this might feel good to stay right here, but if you want a little more sensation, you might invite your right leg over towards your left leg and your right arm over towards your right arm, or left arm over towards your right arm. I got it. So we're basically bringing the left arm and leg towards the right side of the mat without moving the torso, without moving the hips. So we're getting a nice side lying body stretch. Now this is perfectly great right here. You can breathe your breath and feel some expansion in the left rib cage and the left hip, perhaps. Or you might cross that left leg over the right, cross your ankle, and maybe even interlace your fingers up over your head. Or you might hold on to opposite elbows here in that sort of ragdoll shape, or maybe opposite wrists. And just breathe your breath. And here I invite you to turn to look to your right and just soften here. And again, we'll stay here for at least a whole minute. And as you're here, notice the breath. Notice the places where you feel yourself expand and soften. Notice the sensations of the stretch that's happening along the left side of your body. Just be with your breath, be with those sensations. That left leg get nice and heavy. Let that left knee and hip open up. Just a couple more breaths here, relaxing the skin of your forehead and the muscles around your eyes. Release your jaw. Just be soft, open, receptive, and gentle. One more full breath right there. And then when you're ready, next to inhale, come back to that X marks the spot place. Notice the rebound effect of that big sideline body stretch. And then we'll take it to the other side. So invite that right foot over towards the left foot, the right arm over towards the left arm. Maybe stay right here. Maybe cross that right ankle over the left ankle. You might brain your face in your hands or interlace your fingers up over your head. But again, see if you can switch it up. So you probably have a default way. See if you can do it the awkward way and just find comfort in discomfort. Turn to look to your left. Soften the muscles of your face. Release your jaw. As you inhale, notice the right rib cage expand. Notice the right armpit and hip opening. Notice whatever there is to notice in your own body and your own experience. Just another minute or so here. Couple more breaths. When you're ready to inhale again, spread those arms and legs out into that X marks the spot shape. Wiggle your fingers and toes, rotate your wrists and ankles. One more big inhale here as you exhale. Draw those knees back up towards your heart once again. We'll rock a little bit from side to side, releasing any tension out of the hips and the low back. And then any way that you want to get there, we're going to come over into a tabletop. So you might like to rock and roll up and down your spine, or you might like to just flip right on over into your tabletop, whatever makes the most sense for your body today. We're just going to find a few gentle cats and cows here. So as you inhale, you might tuck your toes under, bend your elbows, drop your belly, look forward. As you exhale, bring the tops of your feet to the ground, press into all 10 fingertips, and really round the spine. Let your head be heavy. Inhale, cow pose. Open up across the collarbones and the throat. Exhale, cat pose. Nice long line from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Just a couple more rounds here. And you might like to stay with this cat and cow maneuver, or you might like to find something organic here too. Maybe rock your legs a little bit or your hips a little bit from side to side. You might like to make some kind of barrel rolls with your spine, sort of like a jump rope going around and around. And if you do that, make sure you get that opposite direction. You might find a spot that feels really, really good. You might want to find a cow posture or cat posture and just breathe a couple rounds of breath. And then when you're ready to, we'll tuck those toes under, send the hips back towards the heels any amount, and walk your hands forward. Tuck your chin generously, and maybe bring your forehead down to the mat or to a yoga block perhaps, or just let it hover over the ground. And imagine yourself maybe like as if somebody had their thumbs here in your hips and they were pulling your hips back as you're reaching forward, just creating lots and lots and lots of length along your spine. And then once again, direct your attention to your breath, those places where you feel yourself expand with the in breath and soften with the out breath. Couple more breaths here. And then we'll come out of this extended child's pose into a softer child's pose. So here you might like to bring your big toes together, untucked. Take your knees out nice and wide. If you have a pillow or a folded up blanket, you might bring that on top of your calves here to rest your sit bones on. And then here you can just let your forearms rest down, maybe rest your forehead down to the ground. Or you might like to spin your elbows out and stack your hands and rest your forehead to your stacked hands. Another option here would be to come into snail pose. So the shins parallel, and you just kind of brush your fingertips back towards your feet and let yourself curl up into a little tiny ball. Bring your forehead or the top of your skull down to the ground and just let your arms kind of drape alongside your body. So again, I encourage you to find what feels right for you, and we're just going to stay here for one more full minute. Breathe your breath in and out. Stand and soften. Being with the rhythm of your body. When you're ready to come out, gently bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself back up to whatever tall seat serves you best. Although this is a restorative class, so if you want to stay on the ground, breathing your breath, feeling the sensations of your body, I invite you to go ahead and do that if your time allows. Otherwise, just taking this moment to just acknowledge your efforts today, to restore your body to a sense of balance, to embrace your breath with full and complete attention. And then, if you like, in the tradition of yoga, we could bring our hands together at our hearts, maybe tilting your chin down in gratitude to yourself, in gratitude to the beautiful practice that is yoga, an acknowledgement of the light and the divinity that is within each and every one of us. Namaste.